Everyone thought Donald Trump was testing Greenland, but what if he was really testing Canada? And what if Canada just answered, louder than anyone expected? Donald Trump's threats toward Greenland were never just about Greenland, they were about power. They were about testing how far he could push America's closest allies, and they were about seeing whether anyone would actually push back. Today, Canada answered that test by opening a full consulate in Greenland. Did you know that over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel? We totally get it, life gets busy, and sometimes it's easy to forget. But here's the thing, subscribing is completely free, and it really helps us keep creating the content you enjoy. So, why not hit that subscribe button and join our community? It only takes a second, but it makes a world of difference to us. Thank you for your support. Mark Carney did more than make a diplomatic move. He sent a strategic message. He made it clear that Canada will stand with its Arctic partners, defend their sovereignty, and protect its own northern security no matter who is sitting in the White House. This was not symbolic diplomacy. This was calculated leadership.
We saw Minister Anand there, as you say. So we're giving this high-level treatment. It is in the context of Donald Trump's aggression. And, the decision isn't so much, are we seeking to provoke Donald Trump, as some have wondered, but would we back off of our plan to open up this consulate in the context of Trump's aggressions out of fear of Trump? And, this is a declarative move to say not only are we opening the consulate, but we're providing this kind of high-level delegation. We're interrupting a Saturday morning to provide live coverage of it. The Governor General is there, the technical head of state. So it is an expression of active sovereign interest. It is an example, as the Danish foreign minister said, of middle powers coming together, as the prime minister indicated he foresees in his Davos speech, coming together, working together in common interest. And really, oftentimes, what we're saying is in common interest to curb the expansionist aggression of the United States, China, Russia, and others.
Analysts immediately recognized what this move represented. For years, Canada had planned to expand its Arctic presence, but Donald Trump's repeated threats gave this decision new urgency and new meaning. This was no longer about paperwork or protocol. This was about drawing clear lines. Canada was saying, we will not be intimidated, we will not retreat, and we will not allow Arctic sovereignty to become a bargaining chip. The size of Canada's delegation at the inauguration of the consulate was no accident. The Governor General was present. Senior ministers were present. Indigenous leaders were present. Dozens of representatives traveled together. This was intentional. Carney wanted the world to see this moment. He wanted Washington to see it. He wanted allies to see it, and he wanted rivals to understand it. Canada was not acting quietly. Canada was acting confidently. The Arctic is no longer a distant frontier on the edge of global politics. It has become one of the most strategically important regions in the world. It sits at the center of future shipping routes, critical energy corridors, rare earth supply chains, and emerging defense networks that will define global power in the decades ahead. Every major power is watching it closely. The United States, China, Russia, European allies. All of them understand that whoever shapes the Arctic's future will shape the balance of influence in the North. And Canada understands this reality just as clearly. Protecting the Arctic is no longer optional. It is no longer symbolic. It is no longer something that can be postponed. It is now central to national security. It is about controlling resources, protecting sovereignty, securing supply chains, and defending territory in an increasingly competitive world. That is why this consulate matters. It is not a ceremonial building. It is a strategic anchor. It establishes permanent presence. It strengthens regional coordination. It improves intelligence and cooperation. and it limits the space for foreign pressure, manipulation, and interference. This is Canada treating Arctic security with the seriousness it demands and doing so before others try to dictate the terms. What makes this moment even more powerful?
But the reason we had done that, what I call the offensive reasons, is that we have collective interest with respect to the Arctic defense against the incursions of the Chinese and the Russians. But then we have defensive reasons as well in terms of making certain that we protect rare earth minerals that are coveted and other resources across the Arctic, our Arctic and other Arctic nations. And so in that sense, Greenland may be a small country. It is not a hunk of ice that was so derisively referred to by Donald Trump, but we have collective, shared, combined interests with respect to resources, economic development, and making certain that the integrity and sovereignty of Arctic nations is respected.
Was the international response. Greenland welcomed Canada openly. Denmark reinforced the partnership. European allies expressed support. This is what middle power cooperation looks like in practice. Not loud speeches, not empty threats, but coordinated action. Carney is building networks. He is strengthening institutions. He is reinforcing alliances. While Trump relies on disruption, Canada is building durability. Make no mistake, this move was noticed.
It is deeply appreciated. It brings comfort and reassurance for the Greenlandic people to have a close ally and neighbor reaching out with support and presence. Greenland expects to mirror your opening with diplomatic presence here in the years to come. Having the Canadian flag, the maple leaf, waving from your consulate in the center of our capital is an important symbol of the ties between our countries that we continue to build on.
In Washington, it was analyzed, it was discussed, and it was understood for exactly what it was. Trump's approach to foreign policy depends on uncertainty, on hesitation, on confusion, on intimidation, on creating doubt in his opponents' minds. He thrives when others second-guess themselves. Canada offered none of that. There was no retreat, no delay, no softening of position. Instead, Canada demonstrated preparation, discipline, resolve, and unity. Once diplomatic infrastructure is built, it does not simply disappear. Once security partnerships deepen, they do not weaken overnight. Once regional frameworks are established, they cannot be undone with press conferences, social media posts, or political tantrums. These are structural decisions. They change reality on the ground. And that is why this worries Trump, because this is not something he can threaten away. He cannot reverse it with tariffs. He cannot intimidate it into submission. He cannot dismantle it with rhetoric. Canada has locked in its position, and this time it did so quietly, confidently, and permanently. What we are witnessing is not a single diplomatic gesture. It is a shift in posture. Canada is no longer waiting to react. It is choosing to lead. It is defending its interests early. It is strengthening alliances proactively. And it is protecting sovereignty before it is challenged. Mark Carney is not responding to pressure. He is removing leverage. And that is how serious nations secure their future. So the real question is this: do you think Canada is finally learning how to stand up to Donald Trump with strategy instead of slogans, with preparation instead of panic, and with unity instead of division? If you care about serious, independent analysis that goes deeper than headlines, make sure you're subscribed to Canada Nexus. Hit the like button, share this video, and tell us in the comments what Canada should do next. This is Canada Nexus, and we're just getting started.